Welcome to another edition of Black Beer Medicine Bag. Today's topics we will be discussing Biden's apology to Native Americans and toxicity of THC. With no further ado, let's jump in. President Biden has apologized for the government's role in running boarding schools for Native American children, calling it yesterday a blotch on American history. For decades, thousands of Native American children at these schools endured abuse, family separation, and neglect, and ensured of their tribal identity to be erased. I formally apologize as the President of the United States of America for what we did. I formally apologize. It's long overdue. Overdue by more than a half of a century. The federal Indian boarding school era began in 1819 and didn't end until 1969, a year before Biden held office for the first time. I believe it's important that we know, generation of Native children stolen, taken away to places they didn't know, with people they never met who spoke a language they never heard of. Biden noted that there was routinely punishment, sometimes beating, just for speaking their language, wearing tribal clothing or regalia, or growing their hair long. The Interior Department has documented over 1,000 confirmed deaths across more than 500 Native boarding schools nationwide. It's horrible, horrible wrong. It is a sin on our soul. I would like to ask, with your permission, for a moment of silence as we remember those lost and the generations living with that trauma. With the president calling attempts to right the wrong resonates with the crowd that filed with tribal leaders. Stephen Rowe Lewis. I think we can say with an exchange that President Biden is truly Indian country's president. That Governor Stephen Rowe Lewis of the Gila River Indian community, he thanked Biden for what he called his compassionate leadership. And with President's words today and his actions before we can begin the healing. The healing starts with the Interior Secretary, Deb Haaland. She's the first Native American cabinet member. For the last 4 years, she has led the very same agency for generations of harm. Deb Haaland But as we stand here today, my friends and relatives, we know that the federal government failed. It has failed to annihilate our languages, our traditions, our way of life. It has failed to destroy us because we are preserved. Biden's first diplomatic trip to Indian country comes more than 10 days before the election day and the swing state, Arizona, where Native vote is front and center. Sandra Miller from the Total Odom Nation and with the Arizona Democratic Party. She says this apology already resonates with indigenous voters. Miller, he sees us, he wants to heal us, even as he's saying farewell. I think that this is a good attempt, but I think more needs to be done from Washington, D.C. First, they need to sponsor indigenous young men and women who are very interested in becoming therapists and psychologists to learn how to deal with alcoholism, drug use, and the cycle of abuse. Because some of this abuse is not just in the form of alcohol and drugs, but also sexual abuse. That this trauma that they got from the boarding schools have caused for Native nations, both in United States and Canada. This affects the every soul of indigenous people. I remember living on the Micmac Rest, and they said that certain aspects of who they are didn't exist until the Catholic priest came. A certain Catholic priest would essay boys, and that would turn them to the arterial lifestyle that is currently now. I don't know how true it is, but this is what I'm told. A lot of natives have been known to drink, but this is they drinking the pain away. They're trying to numb that thing of abuse and alcoholism that's passed down from these schools. It's not that this is part of the native culture. This is not part. It's just like in the hood or in the audio, people deal with trauma that being poor and just living a rough life has caused. It's all the same. There's psychological, physical, and mental abuse that goes along with these situations. And it's designed by the government. The government needs to apologize to both Black African slaves and Black indigenous slaves also, and set up ways to fund them to make their lives better. Send psychologists also. In fact, the only place that you could really get a little help is the prisons for drug abuse, mental illness, and everything else, literally. And then there is some help. Don't get me wrong. It's getting better, but it's not great. I think that we all need to study and sit down to talk about mental health and trauma. What is trauma? How to deal with trauma. I think Native leaders and people of color, Black, Latino, need to come up with traditions to help deal with trauma. Because sometimes we just do a spiritual aspect, yeah, but we need to actually come up with a way to deal with trauma itself and not just use marijuana. That's what I'm about to get into. But before I get into THC poisoning, yep, it's called cannabis oil poisoning. Before I get into that favorite topic of everybody, them tokers, let's jump into another topic real quick. What the Black Bear Medicine show is all about. Yes. It's about the indigenous medicine of the Midwest. We're going to cover the Midwest indigenous and wild plant types. And this region includes Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. The Anishinaabe, known as the Ojibwe, live in this region. Ottawa live in this region. So does the Miami, Lenape used to live in this region when they were coming through, being pushed through Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. So they will all use these type of plants, these indigenous plants. So let's jump in and see what I'm pulling out of the Black Bear Medicine bag today. The first plant people consider a weed, but it's very happy. You all know it. It's dandelions, or a plant with a rosette of green leaves that grow up to 12 inches and one more or more hollow flower stalks that grow up to 15 inches long. Leaf margins consist of a large teeth. The bright green inflorescence is common in disturbing areas such as lawns and roadside ditches. So you can find this anywhere. Avoid any type of dandelion that is sprayed by pesticide. What is it good for? It's excellent for liver health. Has shown to destroy free radicals and may prevent cancer. So if you guys are trying to not get cancer, look into eating dandelions. has been shown to lower blood sugar and improve function of pancreas. Hey, I need to get some of that. And for indigenous people and black people, diabetes is the number one cause of a lot of health problems. So definitely check that out. As we move on, we got stinging needles. Stinging needles are herbaceous perennial plant with an anchor, almost square stem and leaves that appropriately opposite on the stem. The dark green leaves grow up to 8 inches, and as all parts of the plant may be sharp and cut into irritation, the needles get in clusters of green, feathery flowers that later become heavily cluster of seeds. Okay, you could use this as an anti-inflammatory. Anti-inflammatories are used when you have muscle spasm, muscle pain. Anytime you injure yourself, you want to use this. Also, it's high in protein. If you need protein to build your blood ups. Also, they can. All right, we're moving on to the next one. I'm sorry about that. It's called cut leaf tooth root. Cut leaf tooth root is a herbaceous perennial that grows in a moist, shady woodland soils. The tender green stem can reach up to 12 inches tall and grow from knobby, fleshy peanut tubes that taste and smell like horseradish. The leaves can cut deep lobes with up to 5 lobes. Flowers are white to light pink and have 4 petals, which is characterized of the mustard flower. It relieves lungs and sinus congestion and lowers blood pressure. All right. Let's move on to our next indigenous plant that I'm pulling out of the medicine bag. Rose hip. I'm just going to say rose hip, it boosts immune system high with vitamin C levels and is great for skin health. Give me 1 second, y'all. Sorry about this disturbance. All right, I'm back. The next one is porcelain. Porcelain is an annual plant that grows in a prostrate in distributed areas. Stems are smooth and reddish, with their leaves that grow opposite and sometimes alternately on stems. Leaves are oval to tear down in shape and are thick like. All right. It's rich in omega-3 fatty acids, supports healthy digestion, boosts the immune system. Hey, this sounds like something that we could really use to boost the immune system, fatty acids. So this helps with memory and things like that. And so when you're sick, you might want to try to use this. Goldenrod. How can we use the goldenrod? I've never heard of goldenrod. Let's get this. Goldenrod is a herbaceous perennial plant reaching heights of up to 5 inches. It prefers full sunlight and can be found at the edge of woodlands and open prairies. Flowers are bright, fairly clustered that appear in summertime. You want to harvest it at the tip of the plant in spring and early summer. The blanch these young leaves and and serve as a green vegetable that is best mixed with other greens. They have a flavor that's similar to cilantro, and the tip may be blanched and may be frozen or dried later. Flowers can be harvested when they are bright yellow and can be used for tea or in a salad. The medical benefit of goldenrods are excellent for kidney and liver health, great for treating upper respiratory infections, and makes a good wash for treating wounds. So if you get cut, you may want to use that. If you have kidney problems and liver problems, definitely may want to use this. Consult your doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm no kind of doctor. So consult with your physician before taking these. Myrrhberry. Myrrhberry is a delicious tree with smooth green leaves that are ovulate to core date in shapes and grow alternate on the stem. Mulberry form dark purple fruits that look similar to blackberry. You gather the ripe berries in mid-summer and gather the leaves all year long. Benefits high in antioxidant. This is another antioxidant, cancer preventer. And the leaves are excellent for health. So if you want to use something to help keep your health going, I would definitely suggest mulberries. All right. Are you guys still with me on the Black Bear Medicine Bag Show? Bear with me. I'm not going to have this show go on. I'm trying to cut it down to be more informative, because not everybody has a full hour to watch the show. So here's another one. Pawpaw. Pawpaw is a small tree with large green leaves that turn yellow in fall. Flowers have 6 petals and are dark in bulgy ground. Large green fruit that appear in late summer and turn yellow. Gather ripe fruit in summer. Benefits an excellent buttress to draw out infection. So basically, you could put this on top of a wound when you have an infection. Sochan, also known as cutleaf coneflower, sunflower with yellow flowers that have cone-like shape. Leaves are arranged and alternate on the stem, cut deeply. All right, gather stones in early spring. Benefit antifungal, help support with cancer. Let's moving on. Okay, moving forward. Rose hip. Rose hip is a thorny shrub that forms thick in full summer. You should gather it all year long, even when there's snow on the ground. It boosts the immune system with high levels of vitamin C, and it's great for skin health. I think I already read that one. I think I read that once. Give me a second. Plantain. These plants are good together all year long. You can make a putrid burns and cuts, and it's high in fiber. All right, so that is all that I'm pulling out from the Black Bear Medicine Bag Show for today, as far as that dealing with indigenous plants of the Midwest that were used by the various nations that I've talked about. Now, our main topic tonight that we will be getting into is cannabinoid cannabinoid poison. Marijuana is derived from the hemp plant Cannabis salvia or Cannabis indica. The term marijuana became popular in the 1930s. It originated with slang word from the psychoactive part of the cannabis smoked by Mexican soldiers. Hemp refers to the root, stalk, and the stem of the plant, which can be used to make rope and twine. The most potent part of the plant extracted is hash, a oil. The dry resin, also referred to as hashish. The dry flower tops and leaves can be smoked as a cigarette. No, politically as joints. In water, pipes, or bongs. Both plant materials and hash oil may be inhaled as a vapor, which vaporizes activities compound by heating them without combustion. These forms may be ingested. This plant may be used for several thousands of years, both recreation and medically. Look at the image. They show the image of it right here. I'm going to show y'all what it looks like from some of my material. See that? That's what it looks like. I'm going to place some of this material online, show you guys where to get it, so people can always refer back to some of these plants, research some of these plants, because I don't hide information. I'm the type of person I like to know where it comes from, read it, and keep on. If people want to comment about this path that I'm taking about THC, because I know so many people on the res, so many people in the hood and the radio use marijuana, THC, and not CBD, THC. So I want to put a 3-4 part series. Why do CBD? Why do THC? What's the backdrops of it? I'm going to be on this for a little while, y'all. And research the effects of THC and the effects of CBD. Now I'm going to see any effects of CBD, our next one. Let's go. More than 400 active compounds have been isolated from cannabis plant. 60 active compounds are unique to the plant and are collectively known as cannabinoid. Delta-9 tetrahydrin cannabinoid oil, THC, is a psychoactive cannabinoid oil product for relaxation, intensity of ordinary senses experiences. Perceptual altercation, diminishing pain, and difficulties with memory and concentration. Cannabinoid, CBD, is another cannabinoid that acts as an anti-agonist of endocrine system, or the endocannabinoid system. It is used as a potential therapeutic agent for severe epilepsy. So if you know somebody with epilepsy, maybe they should look into cannabis oil, CBD. Acute cannabis toxicity results in difficult with coordination, means they shouldn't be driving, decrease in muscle strength, decrease in hand steadiness, posture, hypertension, lethargic, decrease in concentration, slower reaction time, slurred speech, and conjunctive infections. Large doses of THC may produce confusion, amnesia, delusion, hallucination, anxiety, agitation. But most episodes remit rapidly. Long-term users may experience paranoia, panic, disorder, fear, or dysphoria. The relationship of cannabis to other drugs of abuse is described in two conflicting models. The gateway theory of developing an abuse description, the escalation of drug use from adolescence to adult. According to this theory, a person will progress with legal drugs such as alcohol and cigarettes to illicit drugs such as marijuana. In contrast, the common liability to addiction, CLA, modern posit is that a set of factors which may include psychological characteristics, social environment, and genetic tendency is associated with risk of all types of substance use disorders. In modern, which is supported by the increased evidence, such as a sequel use can start with any substance, legal or illegal. I do agree that a person is just trying to get that high, they're going to keep trying marijuana. You know what I'm saying? Or they may stop using marijuana and may want to use something else. Everybody is going to try something different. So I see both sides, and everybody is different. And like I said before, some people are trying to run away from their problems using marijuana and alcohol. Some people got real pain out here and they're trying to run away. You know, they may be dealing with being abused sexually, physically, being essayed, all of that. So they're trying to find a way to deal with it. And so that's why they're using high amounts of marijuana. Marijuana is a coping. It's using to cope with something that you're not trying to deal with. So it's something more psychological is going on. Marijuana is just self-medication, as they call that in the psychiatric world. I took a little class on, you know, the different types of things. I'm not an expert, but I can tell you a lot of people have used it just to deal with their problems. And it may work for them for a little while, but like we're saying, on my personal experience, they become more paranoid, they panic, they fear. I've seen that long-term users. I saw that long-term users. In fact, I know one guy who used to smoking in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and he stopped. He said the weed now is like 40 to 60% more potent than back then. The old weed used to make you go to sleep. This new weed keeps you up, aggressive. It's not the same. So you guys really who smoke weed got to be really careful what you put in your body. Long-term effects. You know, your mother's pregnant. Think about the long-term effects that you're doing. It's not nothing to take lightly. But what I want to say is stay safe. The Black Bear Medicine Bag is always open for people who want to give ideas, indigenous, Black, and wherever. You know, I'm always open to promote business, making yourself better. So get back to me. And once again, you guys stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Until again, I'll talk to y'all later. Till we meet again. Don't go heat. Thank you.